What if confidence has nothing to do with being loud, nothing to do with dominance, nothing to do with approval, beauty, or success? What if the most confident women you've ever met were not trying to prove anything at all? Have you ever noticed this strange paradox? The women who chase confidence never seem to fully possess it, while the women who radiate it effortlessly rarely speak about it. Why is that? Why do some women command respect the moment they enter a room, without raising their voice, without explaining themselves, without seeking permission? What do they know that others don't? Is confidence something you build, or something you uncover? Carl Jung believed the greatest power a human can possess is not control over others, but confrontation with oneself. So here is the uncomfortable question most people avoid. What if the secret of confident women lies not in positivity? What if it lies not in self-love slogans, but in facing the parts of yourself society told you to hide? And what if the reason so many women feel anxious, unseen, or insecure is because they were taught to reject their deepest psychological truth? Stay with me, because once you understand this secret, you will never look at confidence the same way again. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. Most people hear this line and nod, but few actually understand its threat. Because it is not poetic, it is a warning. Confident women understand it instinctively, often without ever studying psychology, without ever naming it. They feel it in their bodies, in their decisions, in their boundaries. They sense something others ignore. They sense that confidence is not an attitude you put on. It is not volume. It is not performance. It is integration. Most people live driven by forces they have never examined. Old fears, unquestioned beliefs, emotional patterns inherited, absorbed, or imposed. The unconscious runs the show, quietly pulling strings, choosing partners, triggering reactions, shaping self-worth. And when life keeps repeating the same pain, the same dynamics, the same disappointments, people call it fate. Confident women don't. They understand that the ego, the part that wants approval, safety, and certainty, is not the whole self. The ego wants to be liked. It wants reassurance. It wants to be seen as good, strong, acceptable. But the deeper self wants truth, and truth is rarely comfortable. To become confident, a woman must descend beneath the surface personality, beneath the smile, beneath the role, beneath the expectations placed on her by family, culture, relationships, and fear. This is where most motivational psychology stops. Because the unconscious is not clean. It is not polite. It is not inspirational. It contains anger that was never allowed to speak, desire that was labeled dangerous, ambition that was shamed, instincts that were suppressed to survive. Confident women do not exile these parts. They integrate them. They meet their inner contradictions and stop pretending to be one-dimensional. They allow strength and softness to coexist, compassion and boundaries, vulnerability and authority. This is why confident women feel grounded. They are not fragmented. When the unconscious remains unconscious, it leaks out as anxiety, people-pleasing, over-explaining, self-sabotage. The ego scrambles to control outcomes it doesn't understand. But when a woman brings these hidden forces into awareness, something shifts. She stops reacting blindly. She starts choosing consciously. The archetypes within her rearrange. The caretaker learns discernment. The lover gains standards. The innocent gains wisdom. The ruler awakens, not to dominate others, but to govern the inner world. This inner authority is what people mistake for confidence. But confidence is just the side effect. The real transformation is sovereignty. A confident woman is no longer ruled by unexamined fears. She no longer lives at the mercy of emotional tides. She doesn't understand. She feels deeply, but she is not possessed by feeling. She knows why she reacts. She knows what triggers her. She knows when to speak, and when silence carries more power. This is why she doesn't chase validation. She already knows what moves her from the inside. And this unsettles people who are still governed by unconscious patterns. Because when someone stands integrated, they expose the fragmentation in others. Not intentionally, but inevitably. That is why confidence is often misread as arrogance, why boundaries are labeled coldness, why self-trust feels threatening. But the truth is simpler and darker. Confidence is what happens when a woman stops running from herself. When nothing inside her is disowned, nothing outside can easily control her. She no longer calls unconscious repetition destiny. She no longer calls fear intuition. She no longer confuses conditioning with identity. She sees, and once you see, you cannot unsee. This is the place real confidence comes from, not from affirmation, not from applause, not from appearance, but from the courage to look inward and make the hidden visible. That is where power begins. A posture, a tone of voice, a carefully edited version of yourself designed to survive the world. They believe confidence is built by strengthening the persona, the social mask, the role you learn to play so you can belong, be accepted, be chosen. This mask is not fake, it is necessary. It forms early, quietly, through reward and punishment, through approval and withdrawal, through learning what is safe to show and what must be hidden. And modern society trains women to perfect this mask to an impossible degree. Be agreeable, but not weak. Be strong, but not threatening. Be attractive, but not intimidating. Be confident, but not too much. Every trait must be balanced, diluted, softened, adjusted. So the mask becomes heavy, and exhaustion follows. Not physical exhaustion, but psychological fatigue. The kind that comes from constantly monitoring how you are seen, from calculating reactions, from editing your truth in real time. Confident women sense that something is wrong with this equation. They realize that the more effort it takes to maintain an image, the less energy remains to actually live. So they stop strengthening the mask, they loosen it. Not abruptly, not rebelliously, but deliberately. They stop over-managing how they are perceived. They stop preemptively explaining themselves. They stop softening their voice to be palatable. They stop shrinking their presence to make others comfortable. Not because they don't care, but because they recognize something dangerous. The more energy you invest in your persona, the more power you give away. Every time you adjust yourself to avoid disapproval, you hand control to external opinion. Every time you seek validation, you make your self-worth conditional. Every time you chase likability, you abandon authority over your inner world. A woman who needs to be liked is never truly confident, because her sense of self lives outside her. She waits for reactions to tell her who she is. She scans faces for approval. She negotiates her authenticity for safety. This is not confidence. This is psychological dependence. Confident women understand that approval is a drug, and like all drugs, it offers short relief at the cost of long-term power. They choose a harder path. They accept that not everyone will understand them, that not everyone will like them, that not everyone will feel comfortable around a woman who no longer performs emotional labor on demand, and they make peace with that loss. This is where true confidence begins, not with believing you are superior, not with convincing others of your worth, but with a quiet internal realization: I do not exist to be interpreted. You are not a symbol for others to project onto. You are not an explanation waiting to be approved. You are not a performance designed for consumption. You are a presence. When a woman reaches this understanding, something fundamental shifts. Her nervous system relaxes. Her voice steadies. Her movements slow, because she is no longer managing an image. She is inhabiting herself. This is why confident women feel grounded, why they don't rush, why they don't chase, why their silence carries weight. They are not hiding, but they are not overexposing either. They reveal themselves selectively, consciously, from a place of choice rather than need. The mask loosens, but the self strengthens, and this often unsettles others. Because many people rely on social masks to predict behavior, to maintain hierarchy, to feel safe in familiar dynamics. A woman who stops performing disrupts that. She becomes harder to categorize, harder to control, harder to manipulate. Not because she is aggressive, but because she is internally aligned. Confidence, then, is not loudness. It is not dominance. It is not perfection. It is coherence. It is what remains when the need to be approved dissolves. And once the mask falls away, even slightly, there is no going back, because the freedom of not pretending is intoxicating. And that freedom is what people feel when they say, "She's confident." They are sensing the absence of a mask, and the presence of a woman who no longer gives her power away, not because it was wrong, but because it was powerful. This hidden part is not evil. It is not destructive by nature. It is simply everything that made others uncomfortable. Anger that spoke too clearly. Desire that refused to apologize. Ambition that did not ask permission. Self-interest that threatened expectations. Silence that could not be controlled. Boundaries that did not bend. From an early age, women learn a quiet lesson. Be kind but not formidable. Be expressive but not intense. Be confident but never dangerous. Not erased, just buried. And buried power does not disappear. It waits. The more polished the surface becomes, the more pressure builds underneath. The more nice a woman is forced to be, the more rage and clarity collect in the dark. This is why suppressed emotion does not vanish. It leaks out sideways as anxiety, exhaustion, self-doubt, or resentment. True strength begins when a woman turns toward this darkness instead of running from it. Confident women do not suppress their shadow. They befriend it. They listen to the anger instead of silencing it. They recognize it as information, not a flaw. They allow desire to exist without shame. They claim ambition without apologizing. They stop confusing kindness with self-erasure. This is where power re-enters the psyche. When a woman integrates what she was taught to reject, she becomes internally whole. She no longer fractures herself to be acceptable. She no longer plays the role of harmlessness to ensure safety. And something remarkable happens. She learns how to say no without guilt, not loudly, not defensively, but cleanly. She learns how to walk away without explanation, not out of bitterness, but out of self-respect. She learns how to let others be uncomfortable without rushing to soothe, fix, or soften the moment. This is not cruelty. This is sovereignty. People often mistake this shift for arrogance, but arrogance is overcompensation. What they are sensing is integration. A woman who has made peace with her darkness does not need to prove anything. She is not at war with herself, so she does not seek control over others. This is why insecure people feel threatened by confident women, because insecurity depends on predictability, on emotional access, on unspoken agreements that say, "I will be small so you can feel safe." Confident women break those agreements, not aggressively, but quietly. They no longer offer constant reassurance. They no longer shrink to maintain harmony. They no longer perform emotional labor without consent. And this unsettles those who still live in denial of their own shadow. Because when someone stands integrated, they act as a mirror. They reflect back the anger others suppress, the desire others deny, the authority others fear to claim. This is not something you can fake. It is the result of facing what you were told not to be. Confident women are not fearless. They simply stopped fearing themselves. They understand that light without darkness is weakness, that softness without strength is vulnerability without protection, that kindness without boundaries is self-betrayal. They do not romanticize their shadow. They do not act it out destructively. They integrate it consciously. This gives them calm power, a steadiness that does not waver under pressure, a presence that does not seek permission, a silence that communicates more than explanation ever could. Their confidence does not come from dominance. It comes from inner alignment. Nothing inside them is exiled. Nothing is hidden in shame. Nothing is split off and denied. And because of that, nothing outside them is leverage. This is the real reason confident women feel dangerous to some people. Not because they intend harm, but because they cannot be controlled through guilt, fear, or approval. They are not afraid of their darkness. They have already met it, and that is where their power comes from. There is a quiet truth most people never confront. You cannot become who you truly are without losing who you were taught to be. This is not a motivational idea. It is a psychological reckoning. From the moment we learn how to survive socially, we begin collecting identities, roles, behaviors, beliefs shaped by reward and punishment. Approval becomes a compass. Belonging becomes currency. Over time, this conditioning forms a version of the self that functions, but does not feel alive. The process of becoming real is painful because it dismantles this structure. It demands the courage to question the identities that once kept you safe. Confident women accept this cost. They understand that growth is not additive, it is subtractive. To become whole, you must let something fall away. Approval is often the first loss. When you stop shaping yourself to meet expectations, not everyone follows you forward. Some resist, some withdraw. Some misunderstand your silence, your boundaries, your changed priorities. And that hurts. But confident women recognize something essential. Approval that requires self-betrayal is not love. It is control. So they let it go. Next comes the loss of identity. The labels that once defined you begin to feel constricted. The nice one, the strong one, the low-maintenance one, the people pleaser, the rescuer. These identities were not wrong. They were incomplete. Outgrowing them feels like grief, because it means releasing a familiar self, a self that knew how to be accepted. But growth does not ask for comfort. It asks for truth. Then relationships begin to shift. Not all connections survive transformation. Some were built on the old version of you. Some depended on your compliance. Some thrived on your silence. As you change, the dynamics change. Confident women do not cling to what no longer fits. They allow distance to form without forcing closure. They let relationships fall away without rewriting themselves to keep them alive. This is one of the hardest stages. Standing alone psychologically. It is not physical loneliness, it is existential solitude. The moment you realize that no one can validate your becoming but you, there is no applause, no external permission, no guarantee of acceptance, only an inner alignment slowly forming. This is where many people turn back, because the fear of isolation is powerful. But confident women move through it. They understand that belonging to yourself may cost you belonging everywhere else, and they choose themselves anyway. Here is the paradox. As you become more aligned with your inner truth, the need for confidence disappears. Because confidence is a compensation. It exists when there is doubt about your right to exist as you are. When your inner world and outer actions begin to match, that doubt fades. You stop asking, am I allowed to take up space? Am I too much? Am I enough? You simply are. This is why real confidence is quiet. It does not announce itself. It does not seek agreement. It does not defend. It moves calmly because it is not divided. There is no internal debate. No need to perform certainty. No urge to convince. When your thoughts, values, boundaries, and actions align, confidence becomes a byproduct, not a goal. Confident women are not louder. They are clearer. They do not rush. They do not over-explain. They do not chase validation. They trust their inner authority because they earned it through self-confrontation. This alignment creates a grounded presence others feel immediately, not because it demands attention, but because it is not asking for it. Becoming yourself costs comfort, familiarity, and sometimes connection. But what it gives in return is something rare, inner coherence. And once you experience that, the question of confidence becomes irrelevant, because you stop questioning your right to exist. You are no longer performing life. You are living it. And that quiet alignment is the strongest form of confidence there is. There is a voice inside every woman that was meant to guide her. Not comfort her, not please others, but direct her. This voice is not loud, it does not shout. It does not beg for approval. Yet for many women, this voice was never allowed to fully develop. It was interrupted, doubted, overridden, taught to wait for permission instead of trusting its own judgment. When this inner authority remains unconscious, it turns against the self. It appears as self-doubt, as constant overthinking, as a harsh inner critic that questions every decision, as the quiet habit of seeking reassurance, especially from those perceived as more powerful, more confident, more certain. Not because women lack strength, but because they were trained to mistrust it. This internal conflict is exhausting. The mind becomes a courtroom where every choice is debated endlessly. Intuition is second-guessed. Decisions are delayed. Confidence collapses under the weight of internal opposition. But confident women resolve this conflict. They do not eliminate softness. They do not suppress emotion. They integrate authority. When inner authority becomes conscious, everything changes. Decision-making becomes clean. Boundaries form naturally. Self-trust replaces hesitation. Thoughts sharpen instead of spiraling. This is not aggression. This is alignment. Confident women have made peace with their inner authority. They stop outsourcing judgment. They no longer scan the room for approval before speaking. They no longer ask others to validate their instincts. They no longer surrender decision-making to whoever sounds the most certain. Instead, they consult themselves first. This shift is subtle, but powerful. It moves a woman from reaction to leadership. She becomes someone who decides rather than waits, chooses rather than asks, acts rather than seeks permission. And this inner leadership creates calm, because indecision is one of the greatest sources of anxiety. When a woman trusts her own judgment, her nervous system settles. She stops fighting herself. The constant inner noise quiets. She does not need to dominate conversations. She does not need to prove intelligence. She does not need to appear confident. Her confidence is structural. It is built into how she thinks. This is why confident women are often described as grounded. They are not pulled in multiple directions by opinion. They are not shaken by disagreement. They do not collapse under criticism. They listen, but they decide. They no longer ask, "Is this okay?" They ask, "Is this true?" Truth becomes the compass, not popularity, not comfort, not fear of rejection. This inner authority also changes relationships. Confident women no longer seek completion through others. They no longer look for someone to tell them who they are or what they should do. They meet others as equals, not as sources of permission. This creates respect, because people instinctively sense when someone trusts themselves, and trust is contagious. This authority is not rigid. It is flexible, thoughtful, responsive. Confident women can change their minds, but not under pressure. They revise beliefs based on insight, not insecurity. They are not afraid of being wrong, because their identity is not built on appearing right. This is intellectual confidence, the ability to think clearly without collapsing emotionally, to stand in uncertainty without panic, to hold opposing ideas without losing coherence. And this capacity is deeply attractive, not in a superficial way, but in a psychological one, because it signals maturity. The integration of inner authority does not make a woman cold. It makes her stable. It does not make her distant. It makes her self-contained. She can care deeply without losing direction. She can love fully without losing judgment. She can lead without dominating. This balance is rare, and it is the quiet secret behind confident women. They are not louder than others. They are not more aggressive. They are not more controlling. They are simply no longer divided. Their inner voice is no longer an enemy. It is an ally. And once that alliance is formed, confidence becomes inevitable. Because a woman who trusts her own authority no longer needs permission to exist. She already knows where she stands. In a world addicted to noise, silence has become rare, and therefore powerful. Most people feel compelled to speak, to explain, to justify, to fill every pause with reassurance or defense. Confident women do the opposite. They understand that not every moment requires a response. Not every opinion deserves an answer. Not every misunderstanding needs correction. They do not fill every gap with words. They do not over-explain their intentions. They do not defend every choice they make. This is not indifference. It is restraint. Silence, when chosen consciously, reveals clarity. It creates space for perception. It allows emotions to settle. It exposes what is real beneath reaction. A woman who can sit in silence, internally and externally, has learned how to regulate herself. She does not panic in pauses. She does not rush to control how she is perceived. She trusts that her presence does not require constant commentary. This kind of silence unsettles people. The need to be understood immediately. The urge to explain before being asked. The impulse to soften discomfort with words. Confident women resist this impulse. They allow others to sit with uncertainty. They allow moments to breathe. They allow truth to reveal itself without force. Silence also creates authority. When a woman speaks only when something is necessary, her words carry weight. They are not diluted by excess. They are not lost in over-justification. This is why confident women are often described as their calm does not come from detachment. It comes from inner stability. They are not afraid of what silence might reveal. They are not avoiding themselves. They have already faced their inner noise, and because of that, they do not rush. They listen more than they speak. They observe before they act. They respond instead of react. Confidence never rushes. Rushing is a sign of anxiety. Hurrying to be accepted. Hurrying to be understood. Hurrying to secure approval. Confident women move at their own pace. They trust timing. They trust presence. They trust that what is meant to be said will emerge without force. Silence becomes their anchor. It protects their energy. It sharpens their awareness. It signals self-respect. And in a world where noise is mistaken for confidence, silence becomes the quiet proof of inner power, because the woman who does not need to fill space has already claimed it. Confidence is emotional self-sufficiency, not isolation, not emotional numbness, not shutting others out, but the ability to regulate your inner world without needing someone else to stabilize it. Most people are emotionally fused. Their mood depends on how they are treated. Their sense of worth rises and falls with attention, approval, or affection. When connection feels uncertain, anxiety takes over. When validation disappears, identity collapses. Confident women break this pattern. They feel deeply, but they do not lose themselves in feeling. They experience love, disappointment, desire, and grief without allowing those emotions to dictate who they are. This is emotional independence. It means you can be alone without feeling abandoned. It means you can love without clinging. It means you can disagree without fear of loss. Confident women do not confuse attachment with identity. They understand that closeness does not require self-erasure. They do not disappear inside relationships. They do not shrink their needs to preserve connection. They do not trade authenticity for security. They love deeply, but they remain intact. This is why their presence feels calm. They are not reaching. They are not grasping. They are not emotionally hungry. And because of that, their love is clean. Love is strongest when it is chosen, not needed. When a woman does not need someone to complete her emotional regulation, her relationships become freer, healthier, more honest. She can walk away from what harms her. She can stay present without fear. She can set boundaries without guilt. Emotional independence is not coldness, it is stability. And stability is the foundation of real confidence. Confident women are rare because confidence demands truth, and truth demands loss. Not everyone is willing to pay that price. To live honestly, you must lose illusions, the stories you told yourself to feel safe. the beliefs that protected you from discomfort but kept you small. You lose people who benefited from your insecurity. Those who relied on your silence, those who felt comfortable when you doubted yourself, those who preferred you uncertain because it made you controllable, and perhaps most painfully, you lose versions of yourself built for survival. The agreeable version, the pleasing version, the self-sacrificing version, the version that endured instead of chose. Letting these identities die feels like grief, because they once protected you. But confident women understand something essential. Survival is not the same as living. As these layers fall away, something else emerges. A stable sense of self that does not shift with opinion or pressure. When a woman lives from this center, insecurity loses its grip. She no longer asks, "Am I enough?" She no longer waits to be chosen. She no longer needs proof of her worth. She knows. This is why confidence feels rare. It requires confronting what most people avoid. Loss before gain. Truth before comfort. Self before approval. And not everyone is willing to walk that path. Modern self-love is loud. Affirmations, mantras, positive declarations repeated into a mirror. But confidence is not built by repeating comforting lies. It is built through confrontation. Confident women do not say, "I am perfect." They say, "I know my flaws, and I refuse to be ruled by them." This is a crucial difference. Self-love without self-knowledge is fragile. The moment reality challenges it, it collapses. Moment criticism appears, it shatters. Confident women choose a harder form of self-respect. They examine themselves honestly. They acknowledge weaknesses without shame. They recognize patterns without denial. They do not romanticize themselves. They do not demonize themselves. They understand themselves. And understanding creates power. When you know where you are reactive, others cannot manipulate you there. When you know your fears, they lose their unconscious control. When you know your flaws, they stop owning you. Self-knowledge beats self-esteem, always. Because self-esteem seeks protection. Self-knowledge creates freedom. Confident women are not afraid to look inward. They are not threatened by their imperfections. They integrate them. This is why their confidence is steady. It does not collapse under pressure. It does not require constant reinforcement. It comes from clarity. Confident women know this secret. Carl Jung confident women do not seek power. They stop leaking it. They reclaim it from over-explaining, where justification replaces authority. From people-pleasing, where approval becomes currency. From fear of abandonment, where silence feels dangerous. From external validation, where worth becomes conditional. From performative femininity, where appearance replaces truth. Every time a woman stops betraying herself to be accepted, power returns. Not suddenly, not dramatically, but permanently. Confidence becomes inevitable. Not because she tried to be confident, but because nothing inside her is divided. No hidden resentment, no suppressed truth pulling against her actions. And when nothing inside you is divided, nothing outside you can control you. That is the final realization. Confidence is not something you chase. It is what remains when you stop giving yourself away.